The celebrated Internet Opinion Show returns for its highly anticipated second episode, just in time to coincide with another hotly anticipated release. So grab those palpu fruits and get ready to heal that goddamn duck again, because this time we're playing in the key of your heart. This episode is about Demyx's Arpeggio from Kingdom Hearts 2. Which is not a sitar. Episode over. When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby. Okay, clearly it's not as simple and clean as all of that. In truth, there are actually quite a few things that the Melodious Nocturne's weapon of choice shares with the iconic Indian instrument, like its longer scale and the general shape of its body, and nothing else. Seriously, this thing is closer to a banjo than it is to a sitar. But does this oversized shillelagh have a proper real-world parallel? There's only one way to find out. Ha! See? I told you he was a soaking, noisy layabout! Speaking of things I said last episode, it was actually pretty easy to pin down the Pokéflute's real-life inspiration, and that won't really be the case this time, as the Arpeggio doesn't really have a one-to-one analog to the real world. But if we take a look at its many features, we might just learn something cool. So first, we're going to talk about the sitar, because it is important to provide context, and it will help us to nail down some of the features of this weird-ass looking thing. The Arpeggio has a lot of idiosyncrasies when compared to its namesake, the Indian sitar. A sitar has about 20 strings, where the Arpeggio only has 3. Now, only about 7 of those 20 strings are actually played in any capacity, but all of those strings are there, and they resonate throughout the body and help to create sound. The sitar also has frets that are designed to be moved along the neck, so that you can tune each note as you personally like. The Arpeggio has frets that are predetermined, fixed, like the Sephiroth boss fight in both the games. So that's sort of a bare-bones explanation of the sitar. Why is this thing called a sitar? That's an excellent question. Why is it called that, Tetsuya? Tetsuya, are you listening? I know you're watching. Why haven't you been answering my letters? So, now that we're done talking about the sitar, let's talk about the actual Arpeggio itself. This thing is long. It looks like it's probably comparable to the scale of a bass guitar, right around 34 inches. It's got 3 strings, and it looks like those little yellow needles on the side of the neck are actually the tuning pegs. It looks like they're geared, since they're perpendicular to the body, and they probably run through some hollow part of the back of the neck up to the headstock, where they come out as those little points there. It looks like that's the part that the strings are wound to, and then of course they're moved down the neck and actually attached onto the bridge at the bottom of it. It's sort of a weird, esoteric thing to do with the tuners, but it helps to fit with the aesthetic of the sitar, so that's not really any points we're going to dock. The body does appear to be all wood, no skin, because I'm not seeing any light coloring on it, although that bold back may actually be from like a split gourd, which a lot of instruments do, the sitar included, in the real world. Now, I'm not seeing anything that looks like a traditional sound hole on it, although it is possible that these little half-moon shapes on either side of it are recessed, which gives a little bit of an opening for sound. However, this is all just conjecture because I haven't actually been able to find any sounds for this thing. They don't seem to exist anywhere. Now, it's been a couple of years since I've actually sat down and played Kingdom Hearts 2 fully, but I was doing a lot of reviewing and researching for this episode, and in all that time, I've never actually heard what this thing sounds like. I don't think there are any sound files for this instrument. Demyx does a lot of tapping along the neck of the sitar in his boss fights, so we could imagine John Gomm or Andy McKee music playing in the background, but this kind of seems like a sound design oversight. It seems like something that you should really do for this boss fight, to integrate the sound of the instrument into the music itself. Also, it's important to point out that calling it a sitar isn't something that was decided by the fan base. It's actually canon in the universe. I know for a fact that in 358 Days Over 2 on the Nintendo DS, when you select Demyx for the mission mode, it actually shows his weapon listed as a Sitar. There's a bunch of different weapon cores that you can slot into his loadout that actually change the way that the instrument looks, but they're all listed under the weapon class Sitar. This actually begs the big question. Is this supposed to just be like a regular instrument in the universe of Kingdom Hearts? Like, is there a Sitar Center in Traverse Town that you can just go to and buy it? Like, do they have like a whole bunch of different colors and name brands and styles? Like, Demyx is always portrayed as being sort of a lazy layabout, so I don't think that he had like designed and built this thing. That doesn't really seem like his MO. It'd be funny if, like, at the steps of that building in the secret ending of KH1, if you see, like, buskers out playing these things and, like, asking for tips and everything, or at, like, a music festival or something, that'd be cool. I would like to see more of these instruments in the game. Frankly, I'd like for these things to actually exist. In my book, the more instruments, the better. I actually drew up some plans for a real one of these a couple of years ago. I never ended up making it, but I did have, like, all these different drawings and measurements, and I even printed out, like, a fret guide so that you could build the scale. I don't know anything about woodworking, and I don't really have the money to put down to order custom instruments, so obviously none of that ever ended up happening. That being said, if anybody out there actually knows of somebody who constructed a real one of these and actually got it playing, please send that my way. I really, really want to see that. Alright, and with that out of the way, on to the next segment. So, that's the basic aspects of the Sitar and why the Arpeggio really doesn't match up with it. So, we're going to get ready for the grand reveal as we talk about what instrument it really belongs to. But before then, a couple of consolation prizes. These instruments were so close, but they just didn't make it. First up, the Tibetan Dranyan. Pretty similar body shape, and although it does actually have 6 to 7 strings, they're actually arranged in 3 courses. So it essentially functions as a 3-stringed instrument. The problem is it's skinned like a banjo, and it's also fretless, which unfortunately the Arpeggio is neither of those things. Hey, there it is in that episode of Airbender you won't shut up about. So I guess it's an instrument of Fandom too. It's cool. Next runner-up is the stick dulcimer, and I actually have one of these things. So let me pull it out for you. It's, here it is. It's not skinned in the same way that the Dranyan is, but it does have a diatonic fretboard along with a kind of weird shape. The diatonic fretboard is really the thing that disqualifies it, as the Arpeggio seems to have a chromatic fretboard. Although its fret layout looks to be reversed. The frets get further apart the higher up the scale you go. So you might be able to argue it is a diatonic fretboard, but we'll come back to that. Let's table that for now. So, Sitar's out of the way, runner-ups are done. We've helped to pin down some of the different traits of the Arpeggio. It's got 3 strings, an all-wood body, a long scale neck like a guitar, and a 4th thing that I'll put up somewhere on the board when I remember what it is. We're getting ready for the big reveal. The Sitar was a no-go, but what do you think won? Was it a Sanshin? A loop guitar, maybe? Ooh, a balalaika, that would be fun. Stop teasing us, computer! What is it? Oh. Yeah, I guess that does make sense. There's so many 3-course instruments that could fit the bill, but... Seriously? No big payoff? It's our 2nd episode. People are counting on us. Just... I don't... Make a best estimated guess. Hey! It's the Domra from Eastern Europe. It's primarily Russia. It's essentially the same as the balalaika, but it's 3 strings and more rounded body. Actually, lend it pretty well to the Arpeggio. It's kind of small, though. I mean, I know that's a tiny nitpick, computer, but there are tenor and bass sizes, but the most iconic one is the prima. You know what? Let's have a do-over. There are so many out there. Let's re-roll. The cigar box guitar? I mean, sure, it's got 3 strings and a chromatic fretboard, but it's made out of a square box and you play it with a slide. I guess its country roots would help to explain that backwater mullet that Demyx thinks he's pulling off. I guess the water element from his magic comes from a swamp. Wait. Water, that's it. That's the key. Computer, forget the fretboard. Forget the scale. What's that Asian instrument with the crazy headstock? No, that's the pipa from mainland China. That's got too many strings. Come on, try again. No, that's the Japanese shamisen. It's got 3 strings and it's a good one, but it's not what I'm thinking of. Come on, you know this one. Associated with water, crazy headstock. It comes from Thailand. You know this. Come on. That's it. That's the thing right there. It's the pin from Thailand. It's got 3 strings. It's got a diatonic fretboard, and it's got a kick-ass headstock. That headstock was actually the main thing I wanted to talk about, because that headstock is based off of the Payanaga, which is the mystical water dragon from Southeast Asia. It's said to inhabit the Mekong River, which is the river that separates Thailand and Laos, and as such, it is associated with water. As the melodious nocturne, Demyx's magical ability that he's associated with is also water, which explains why he's so wet behind the ears. I think it's a good fit for him, actually. Pins were traditionally mainly acoustic, but in recent years they've become electrified more often than not, which lends them a sort of rock edge that I really feel fits with Demyx's rock star wannabe persona. It's good. I think they go well together. It's a damn sight better than calling that thing a sitar, which it very obviously is not. In fact, I think I know Tetsuya Noma's phone number. Let's see if we can make it official. Yeah. Japanese phone numbers are very long. There we go. It's ringing. Don't worry. Yeah, hi, I was voicemail. I'll leave a message. Mailbox full. I'll text him. Does this thing have any games? It does. Kingdom Hearts coded. We're done here. This has been Instruments of Fandom. I've been Evan Greenhoe. The Arpeggio is a pin from Thailand. It's official now. I have that power. If you want to challenge my authority, you can howl into the unceasing void, or you can message me on Twitter at Captain Amazo. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you'd like to see next time. And other than that, just stay tuned. Our clue for next episode is the coolest color on the team? What? Okay. The coolest color on the team. Thanks for watching and keep playing. See you guys next time. Yeah. Well, it started with an island that got covered up with ants. So you smacked them with the big key to your house. But then your buddy vanished and your girlfriend disappeared. So now you're watching Disney films with Mickey Mouse. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. It doesn't make sense even in small parts. Kingdom Hearts. Soon starring Iron Man and Bart. When will we finally get to Kingdom Hearts? What even is it? Doesn't make any sense.